All right, it is 7 o'clock. I'm trying to stream my screen to you. I just don't know why it is not working. We are trying to do something different here. I had it all laid out, and then there was a stupid update. I walked up to my computer. Let's try this again. Why is it not sharing? Let's do it this way. And give me 2 seconds. Stop share, stop mirroring. And now let's try it again. One more time. Remirror. No good deed goes unpunished. Let's see now. Does it work? If not, we'll just do it old school because why not? And share. Why is it not application window? Why is it not doing it? All right, old school it is. We'll just do old school. Stupid. I was so excited. I found a better way to share my screen with you all, and now it's being stupid. Okay, I guess I could stop screen mirroring. And off here. All right. Now, Miss Crystal, did you get my email? I know I just sent it, but if you check your email, you should have received it. Yes, I'm hoping. So there's that. And we are going to get started. Yay. I think we're good. Let me refresh here and let me do chat. And whew, it's been a weekend. I did a garage sale. And if you've never done a garage sale before, well, I actually hosted it. It was a lot. It was a lot, but it was good and it was fun. And I was thinking, as a real estate agent, I think if I was trying to sell houses in a neighborhood and I lived in my neighborhood, I would do a community garage sale. So people are always asking, how do I get business? Or how do you make sure their neighbors call you? Set up a community garage sale. I mean, it brings people, you meet people, just saying. But let's get to question number 54. Just making sure Miss Stacy and or Miss well, yeah, Miss Stacy, can you all hear me? I'm just making sure. Yeah, good. Stacy, you got an email? You did? Well, the email, I was actually thinking Crystal. I did I send you? Oh, I did respond to your email, Miss Stacy. It was Miss Crystal. I sent her an email right as we were coming in. So she hopefully has that. All right, let's go with question number 54. You said what?
Got it.
Good, perfect. All right. So 54. What's going on my screen? Here we go. A tenant who uses a wheelchair asked to install permanent grab bars and a ramp at his own expense to access his rental unit. Under the Fair Housing Act, what is the landlord's obligation? Now remember, since it just says Fair Housing Act, pretend like they're saying federal. On your national side, we're just assuming federal laws because we know when it comes to each individual state that you may actually have different things. There could be different things going on. So is it A? The landlord must allow the modification only if the building was constructed after 1991. B, the landlord must pay for and install the modifications since accommodating disabilities is the landlord's financial responsibility. C, the landlord may deny the request outright since physical modifications to the unit are never required under fair housing laws. Or D, the landlord must allow the tenant to make the modification at his own expense, though the landlord may require reasonable assurance that the unit will be restored to its original condition when the tenant moves out in some cases. All right, and Miss Stacy, you are telling me D. Miss Crystal, you are telling me D. I agree with that, but we know this 1991 date would be 1978, so that's definitely wrong. The landlord doesn't have to pay for this. We know the tenant does. And they cannot deny the request outright. So, yes, D is our answer. Nice job, ladies. All right, 55. A borrower takes out a 7-year loan that is amortized over 30 years. with regular monthly payments based on a 30-year schedule. At the end of year 7, the borrower is required to pay off the remaining loan balance in one full lump sum. What is this loan structure called, and what risk does it primarily create for the borrower? So we really have two questions here. What is it called, and what risk does it primarily create for the borrower? If we know the answer to this question, and it's only in our list once, we don't even have to worry about the second part. But let's see what we got. All right, so we got a C. You're telling me it's C, Miss Crystal. Let's see what we got. Is it A, an adjustable rate loan, which creates the risk of rising monthly payments throughout the loan term? Well, that is the definition of an adjustable rate mortgage, but that's not what we're talking about here. Boo. Did we already do these questions? Why do I feel like we already did these questions? Am I going crazy? Did we already do these? I feel like we did, didn't we? Is it just me? These sound really familiar. Oh, well, we'll keep on going. It's not B, a wraparound loan, which creates the risk the original underlying loan will be paid off early. C, which you both are telling me the answer is a balloon loan, which creates the risk the borrower must refinance or pay a large sum. We like that. And we know it's not D, a graduated payment loan. And we know with a graduated payment loan, over the course of the life of the loan, your payments get bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's not what they're talking about. These are regular monthly payments and the amounts don't change. They do sound familiar. I'm like, didn't we do these? And I feel like we did this question with the 6% and 45, but no, we didn't do 57. So, but I feel like we just did 56. It's okay. Let's keep on going. 56. A home sells for $525,000 with a total commission of 6%. The listing brokerage keeps 45% of the commission, and the selling brokerage keeps the remaining 55%. The selling brokerage also pays its agent a $2,000 bonus in addition to the agent's standard 60% commission split. How much does the selling agent receive in total? We most definitely have not done this one, so I think we are all just having deja vu on the other questions. So let's go. We know the sales price is $525. And there is a commission of 6%. So if we multiply, we will get the total commission, which is going to take my handy dandy calculator. 525 times 6%. I got 31.5. That's the total commission. But it says the listing brokerage keeping 45% and the selling brokerage is keeping 55%. So we got the listing, we got the selling. And we know the selling side is keeping 55%. We know the listing side is keeping 45%. So that means our total commission, that's not how you spell total, for each side would be taking that 31,500 and multiplying it by the 45%. Taking that 31,500 and multiplying it by the 55%. And the question is asking us about the selling brokerage. So we're going to focus on this side. So I'm going to find 55% of 31.5 times 55%. I got a total commission for the selling side of 17,325. And then there's going to be a 60% split, 60% to the agent, and then that means the brokerage is keeping 40%. So we're dealing with the agent, so I'm going to find 60% of that 17,325. And that's going to be, so we multiplied 10,395. And although this is an answer choice, it is not right because there is this $2,000 bonus. So we need to add $2,000 because that's a bonus, giving us an answer of 12,395. Do we have that answer choice? We do. Our answer is D. Right. Hopefully that feels good. And of course, if you're in the Zoom, not the Zoom room, but if you're watching your YouTube, feel free to ask me questions. Hola, Miss Trix. Nice to have you back today. All right. Not too bad. Not too bad. Remember, I know that you don't have to get the math all right to pass this test, but if you can get all the math right or most of the math right, that means you can get more of the other problems wrong. That's what I'm talking about. All right, 57. A tenant's monthly rent is $16.50. The lease begins on the 18th day of the month of a 30-day month, with the tenant responsible from move-in date through the end of the month. Using a 30-day month for calculation, how much prorated rent does the tenant owe for the first partial month? Even before you all decided to become real estate agents, I'm pretty sure most of us have rented, and we've done this math before. So we're going to take that 1650, if that's a month, and divide it by 30 to get a daily amount. So 1650 divided by 30, that's 300. 1650 divided by 30 is $55 a day. And now we need the 18th through the 30th. And that means we have to include the 18th. Right? So what you could do is, and what a lot of people do, is they take 30, subtract 18, and that will give you 12. Plus we need to add a day because we have to include the 13th or the 18th. I like to use my fingers or toes. I would say 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. That's still 13 days. So I'm going to multiply that $55 times 13 days, and I'm going to get a total of $715 that this tenant needs to pay. Lovely. Hello, Miss Caroline. Miss Caroline, I did send you the link again. I'm pretty sure I sent you the link. I just want to make sure if I forgot, but I thought I sent you the link after being a slacker. So if you need it again, just let me know. And you know you have every right to harass me until I do send it. All right. 58. Annual HOA dues. Oh, that's a lot of math, but just two more. Annual HOA dues of $21.90 have already been paid in full by the seller for the calendar year. The sale closes on May 1st, with the buyer taking ownership on the day of closing. Using a 365-day year, how much will the buyer owe the seller at closing to reimburse for the prepaid dues for the remainder of the year? Well, we're talking about a year. And because this closing happened on May 1st, that buyer's responsible for all of May, and then June, July, August, September, October, November, December. All of it. Now we're using a 365-day year. So we know we have 30 days and 31 days in May. I knew that. 31 days in May, and June has 30, and July has 31, and August has 31, September has 30, October has 31, November has 30, and December has 31. Now, honestly, when I get these problems, I'm like, okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 31s. I'm going to do 31 times 5, and I'm going to add to that 1, 2, 3. So that's 90. And then 31 times 5, I got 155. Let me make sure that's right. So 155 plus 90, what is that, 245? That is owed to the seller. 245. Yes, you all get it. Oh, that's right, Miss Caroline. I knew I was forgetting something. I don't know if you hear, I was running around all week getting ready for this garage sale, y'all. It was so much work. And I did see that, and I am so excited. And I still not heard back from that guy. I might have to do it anyway one of these days if he doesn't get back to me soon. But I am so excited for you. And we do need to go. You know what? We'll do. If I don't hear back from him before Wednesday, we're going to go ahead and do it on Sunday, even if it's just me, so you don't have anything to worry about when trying to find a broker. So we'll hopefully he'll come through, but if not, next Sunday we will definitely talk about what you need to do and what you need to ask about when you're looking for a broker. He'll just have to join us or not. So we're going to take that 245 days. Now that was stupid. Why did I do that? Oh, yes, I could have done this. You know what? Now that I look at that, I could have done this and I could take, let me finish this thought process. Let's see if it comes out the same. If it is 2190 and if I divide it by 365, I would, yes, actually this is the right way to do it. 2190 divided by 365, that gives me $6 a day. So I would do 245 times $6. I just want to make that sure that's right. 2190 divided by 365. That's going to be $6 a day times 245, and that's going to give me 1470. B. And what I was going to say is, guys, what I almost did for a second, and I'm going to do it in a different color. It's exactly, I mean, it's all of May, all of June, July, August, September, October, November, December, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that's 8 months. And if I were to take the 2190 and I divide it by 12, that would be 182.5. And then I multiplied it by 8. Just wondering how close we would get. 1460. So even if you did it this way, you can see you get two different numbers. 1460 would be if there were actually 30 days in every month. But that's not true. You got some days with 30, some days with 31. That's why it's so important to look, see if it's a 365-day year, because that number, 1460, could have been there, and you would have needed to know which one you needed to choose. So yes, our answer is B. All right, no more math. Fine. Fine. I've been mathing all day. Let me tell you, trying to add up all those items at a garage sale and people haggling with you. So a borrower has a $300,000 loan at a 6% annual interest rate with a monthable. What is a monthable? Is that like a lunchable? I don't know. With a monthly principal and interest payment of $1798.65. What is the amount of interest included in the very first monthly payment? So we're going to take the 300,000 and multiply it by 6% because that's our annual rate. And that would get an amount of annual interest. And so we're going to take 300,000. We're going to multiply it by 6%. I got $18,000. If you borrowed $300,000 for 365 days and you paid off the $300,000 you need to pay your interest for the year, you would have $18,000 in annual interest. But you're talking about the first month. You're talking about the first month. You only borrowed this for 1 month. I'm not paying you $18,000 because I borrowed money for 30 days, Mr. or Mrs. Bank. I'll pay you for 1 month of interest. So I'm going to take the 18,000 and I'm going to divide by 12. And that gives me $1,500 for 1 month of interest. And that is our answer. They gave us the 1798.65. They even then gave it to us as an answer, but they're just trying to trick you. They're trying to trick you. And then they even gave us this $18,000, which we know is wrong. And I bet if I were to take that 1798.65 and subtract 1500, yep, I would get the 298.65, which is that answer. But once again, that's wrong. So these answers, and on your test, they're going to try to trick you with answers that are similar or mistakes that people commonly make. But you all don't make them because we take these practice exams. We get them right. All right, we can pull it together for one more math problem, right? We're on try. A lender requires a maximum loan to value ratio of 90% for a particular loan program. So you have to put down at least 10%. They are not going to give you a loan if you don't have 10% to put down. A buyer is purchasing a home appraised at 365, but the accepted purchase price is 372. The lender bases the loan amount on the lower of the two values. What is the minimum required down payment? Well, this is an easy question wrapped up in a lot of words trying to trick you. We're going to say, well, we always go with the lower price. You might want to buy it for 372, but if the appraiser comes back and says this house is worth 365, the bank is going to give you a loan based off of 365. So we're going to take that 365,000, and we're going to multiply it by 10%. Why? Because if the loan is 90% of the value, then that 10% has to be the down payment. If anybody needs me to explain that, just ask and I will do it some more. And what is that? You know what? I'm not even going to try. I feel like I should just be moving some zeros, but 365 times 10%, 36,500 is your down payment. Boom. And our answer is C. Whew, see, we can do math, and we're out. We're done with that math for a while. 61. Let's pick a new color because that was just yuck. I'm sorry, I should not say that. If math is your jam, great. And to do a great job for your clients, you need to be able to do some math. Do I think about and dream about doing math every day? Absolutely not. But we can do it so we can pass the test and help our clients. And of course, in my case, helping you. A buyer purchases a unit in a building where she receives a deed to her individual unit, along with an undivided interest in the building's common areas, and she pays her own separate property tax bill. What type of ownership does she have? Is it A, a planned unit development lot, since common areas are shared among owners? B, a condominium? C, a timeshare, since she has a fractional interest in the property? Or D, a cooperative, since she shares ownership of the building with other residents? What are we thinking? All right, Miss Stacy, you're giving me a B for boy. I'm bringing home a baby bumblebee. Yes, condo it is, because you're getting your individual unit, an apartment, and you're getting tenants in common in the common areas. So you pay your own separate property tax bill, plus you pay HOAs, owners association fees, because that's going to cover the taxes and the insurance for the common areas, right? You got a PUD here, right? And sometimes the common areas and PUDs are shared among owners. Sometimes it's owned by the HOA, but it's definitely not a PUD. A timeshare, you know, you're going to get your unit plus the land underneath. And a co-op, you get no real estate. What you're buying is stock in a company. So that's not our answer either. All right. 62. A homeowner facing a creditor's judgment for an unsecured debt claims her state's homestead exemption to protect her primary residence from the creditor's forced sale. Does the homestead exemption protect her from a foreclosure by her mortgage lender if she stops making mortgage payments? Now, not every state does mortgage payments and put those rules exactly the same. So the question is, well, we got to see. Maybe, maybe not. We're going to take our best guess from a national point of view and go from there. If your state is one of the states where you're tested on this heavily, you'll be like, oh, this is easy. If you're in one of those states where you're not tested on this heavily, well, we take practice questions like this and try to learn something. So is it A? Does the homestead exemption protect you from a foreclosure by a mortgage lender? Yes, but only if the homeowner has lived in the property for more than 10 years. No, because homestead exemptions typically do not protect against foreclosure by a lender holding a valid mortgage or other purchase money lien on the property. C, yes, because homestead exemptions protect a primary residence from all creditors, including mortgage lenders. Or D, no, because a homestead exemption only applies to rental properties, not owner-occupied homes. Well, the one that I definitely can eliminate off the top of my head is D. That homestead exemption is usually for homeowners. This is wrong. This should be swapped. So we know the answer is not D. Now, does a homestead exemption protect her from foreclosure by a mortgage lender? Now, my gut, of course, I know it, but my gut would say the answer has to be B. Because if homestead exemptions if homestead exemptions did say, oh, you have a mortgage lien, but you have owned your home and you've got this homestead exemption, we can't foreclose, banks wouldn't make loans. If people got married, declared it as a homestead, then stopped paying their packages, their mortgages, how would banks get money? So I'm not 100% sure. I mean, I'm pretty sure, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to go with B, not A, and not C, because I know banks don't do things that cause them to not get paid. That's how I'm looking at it. Does anybody disagree with that one? Anybody disagree with my guess? I mean, it's a pretty well educated guess, but still, 99% sure that's true. And I'm checking the answer. Hey, the answer's B. The answer's B. Hey, the answer's B. Love it. So, good guess on my part, plus logic. Banks want to get paid. Good. All right, 63. A seller lists her home for sale while a lawsuit is pending against her regarding a boundary dispute with a neighbor. The neighbor's attorney records a formal notice in the county records alerting potential buyers that litigation affecting title is ongoing. What is this notice called and what is its practical effect? Sneeze. Sorry, I did not mean to sneeze in your ear. Is it A, a mechanic's lien, B, a quitclaim deed, C, a lis pendens, or D, an affidavit of title? Remember, it's a two-part question. What is it called? So if we can answer this question, because you got 4 different options with what is it called, we can get this right. So it's not a mechanic's lien because we know a mechanic's lien would say somebody, wants to get paid for work on the property. That's not it. A quitclaim deed transfers, title, and we're not talking about transferring title. A lis pendens, notice of pending litigation. Yeah, that sounds about what we're looking for. And D, an affidavit of title, which the seller uses to guarantee the clear title to the buyer. Great word, but not what we're looking for. Our answer, in fact, is C, lis pendens. This is a great example of a vocab question that you've got to master. All right. Nice. Yes, 63 is C. And I see you, Miss Stacy. Next time I'll hit you up with the carrot song. 64. And good job, Miss Tricks. A homeowner has an existing second mortgage, home equity line on her property. She wants to refinance her first mortgage with a new lender, but the new first mortgage would otherwise legally rank behind the existing second mortgage in priority based on recording dates. What document allows the first mortgage to regain the first lien position? Now, my first question is, how do we feel about understanding what's going on? I'm hoping that even though there's a lot of big words there, everybody sees this situation. Remember, we record things at the Register of Deeds. So this is, older in time, and this is the present. And we know if there's a foreclosure sale, then the things that got recorded here get paid in this order. So if you want to record something in the third position, but you want it to get paid before something else, what document do you need to make this happen? Is it A, a deed of release, which removes the property from the second mortgage holder's collateral? B, a satisfaction of mortgage, which releases the second mortgage lien entirely? C, an estoppel certificate, which confirms the loan balance owed on the second mortgage? Or D, a subordination agreement in which the second mortgage holder agrees to voluntarily rank behind the new first mortgage? Now, the one I would eliminate, estoppel certificate. There are such things as estoppel certificates, but they do usually confirm loan balances or rents and things like that. That's not the appropriate place for an estoppel certificate right here. A satisfaction of mortgage is a thing. When you finish paying off that money you borrowed for a mortgage or deed of trust, whatever you want to call it, that loan that you got, that promissory note, well, it releases the mortgage lien entirely, but we're not looking to release the mortgage lien. We want to put the secondary lien in the first lien. This is not what we're looking for. So we are down between A and D. A deed of release or a subordination agreement. Now, I know the answer is subordination agreement. That is the definition. When I think of a deed of release, it's usually releasing some type of title. I think of mortgages. You finish paying it off. Hey, bank, give me back the title to my house. So again, knowing your vocab, very, very effective. And again, even if you weren't sure about deed of release, removes the property from the second mortgage holder's collateral. No, this property is about to be collateral for the second mortgage. So just even if you didn't know deed of release, you could have figured it out from here. Context clues are everything. Use them. There's nothing wrong with that. 65. A title search reveals an old unreleased mortgage from 40 years ago that was actually paid off, but the satisfaction was never recorded. The current owner wants to sell, and the buyer's title company flags this as a problem. What does this old unrelated lien create? It creates CYA. Call your attorney. It creates a situation that is a headache for you, but not your issue in the fact that you don't have to solve this one. This is a legal problem. Let the legal professionals deal with it. But you do need to know, and why we're in this class is so that when this situation happens, your little spidey senses go, ooh, nuh-uh. Not today, Satan. You're not going to get me. We need to call my attorney. We can call somebody's attorney. Somebody needs to deal with this. But let's see what our answer choices are. So what did this old unreleased lien create? Is it A, a cloud on title, which must be typically cleared, often through a satisfaction of mortgage, or a quiet title action before the buyer can obtain clear, marketable title? You know what? I like that. I like the way that sounds, but if I've taught you anything, hey, Miss Mary, you need to text me, email me, because I'm signing up to take my exam probably at the end of August. So I am studying my Michigan stuff because I've been a slacker. I will admit it, Miss Mary. I've been talking about this for about a year, but I've told my dad I'm taking it by the end of this month or beginning of next month. So you can email me. And for my Zoom people, if you couldn't see, Miss Mary is in Michigan and she needs to take her exam and I need to take my exam. So Miss Mary, email me because I am on it for the Michigan stuff. I've even made some AI tests and everything like that. Back to our question. B, An easement by prescription, since the lien has existed for more than a statutory period. But no, easement by prescription, if this, we're not talking about easements here. That's the poo, not our answer. C, a valid enforceable lien for the full original amount of the loan since it was never formally released. I mean, you paid it off. You're telling me you're trying to put my entire loan amount back on the property? That doesn't sound right to me. I'm going to say, mostly no. Or D, no issue at all. Well, no, that's liens automatically expire after 30 years. Absolutely not. That's a no. So our answer is A. Maybe it could have been C, but A, just we felt good about A. And C, you're like, go with the answer you feel most strongly about. Nice. All right, 66. A buyer's agent notices that property A offers a 2% co-broker commission, while property B, which better matches the buyer's stated needs, only offers 1.5% co-broker commission. Co-broke. I just don't like the word co-broke. The agent recommends property A more enthusiastically without disclosing the commission difference. What has the agent likely violated? Ethics? You can't do that. Remember, you owe your clients loads or old car. However, it's been taught to you. Obedience, loyalty, disclosure, confidentiality, accounting, reasonable care and skill, and also the loyalty, the L in loads. Your loyalty is to your client, not your pocketbook or wallet. I don't care if you're getting paid more for the other property. You should be following and making sure you're doing what's best for your client. And yes, Miss Mary, my Gmail works. In fact, Miss Mary, and for everybody else, I'm all over the place today. Remember, this Thursday, is it 6 p.m.? At 6 p.m., I'm doing a live 50 question. It's going to be in a Zoom. I'm doing a recording. And if you want to be there, just email me. So this Thursday, I don't know what Thursday's date is, but today is Sunday, the 8th, August 9th, so y'all can figure it out. If you want to be in that, whether it's you, Miss Mary, or anybody else, if you want to join me, just email me. Here's my email. In case somebody's watching this later. And you too can join us for that recording. All right. So we know you're not showing loyalty to your client. So what has the agent likely violated? A, nothing. No. Agent is in the wrong. B, the fiduciary duty of loyalty by allowing personal financial interest to influence the recommendation without disclosure to the buyer. That sounds right up our alley. Right? It's August 13th. There you go. Shoot me an email. You can be there. C, the Sherman Antitrust Act, since commission rates were not standardized between two properties. No, if you standardize those commission rates, you would be in violation. No. And D, RESPA, or the Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, since properties are being marketed with different commission rates. No, absolutely not. Our answer is B. Oh, your birthday's on the 14th. Well, I think it's a good way to celebrate your birthday is to come for some training so we can get you passing this test. All right, 67. A broker salesperson, while showing a listed property, negligently leaves a door unlocked and the vacant home is later burglarized. Burgled. Isn't burgled the word? I actually think it is. Is later burgled, causing the seller significant loss. The seller sues. Under general agency principles, who can typically be held liable? It's general agency. Who could typically be held liable? Is it A, both the salesperson and the broker may be held liable, since a broker is generally responsible for the negligent acts of agents acting within the scope of their employment? I like that. B, only salespeople can be held liable, since brokers are never responsible for the actions of their agents. That never word should have made Just warning signs come up. That's not true. C, only the broker can be held liable and the salesperson bears no personal responsibility. No, we never have any brokers. Or D, neither party can be held liable because burglary is considered an unforeseen intervening criminal act. Our answer is A. There we go. All right, 68. A purchase contract states time is of the essence and sets a closing date of June 1st. The buyer is not ready to close until June 3rd due to a minor loan processing delay. It's just a minor loan processing delay. And the seller wants to cancel the contract and keep the earnest money. What is the legal significance of the time is of the essence clause here? I mean, couldn't we have just left the question to this? Yes. What is the legal significance of time is of the essence? The other part of the story is great, but at the end of the day, the question is there's all this story. What are you really trying to ask me? What does time of the essence mean? And we know it means that there is, look, this date is set in stone. There's no, but see what had happened was we've picked a date, and if you miss that date, yeah, sorry, Maribel. Say, hey, Maribel, I did mean this. 8/13, August 13th. I was testing y'all. Good job, Maribel, catching me on that. It was 8/13. My bad. Sorry, guys. But what is the legal significance of time is of the essence? That means when you miss a date, you're in breach. So is it only applies to the seller's obligations, not the buyer's? No, it applies to both parties. Any party could have something that if you put time is of the essence in there, everybody needs to meet that date. B, it automatically extends all deadlines by a reasonable grace period, typically 3 to 5 days. We don't like automatically and all. I mean, and I also don't like the word reasonable, but that's personal. So, no. It generally, I do like that words, makes strict compliance with the stated deadline as a material contract term. We know material meaning, hey, if you miss this date, you're in trouble. Meaning the seller may have the right to treat the buyer's delay as a breach. Or D, it has no real legal effect and is simply standard boilerplate language ignored by courts. Absolutely not. Our answer is C. I wanted to make that green, but oh well. All right. 69. You know, I feel like once again I missed out on the opportunity to go 6, 7. Do you think the kids are done saying that? I hope so. Oh, and you know what, Miss Stacy? I promised you the carrot song. I promised you the carrot song. Wait, I don't even know if I shared my sound. Let me see. Boom. Oh, here you go.
I like carrots, and you should too. It goes crunch, 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 and it's good for you.
We like carrots.
And you should too. It goes crunch,
Crunch, crunch, crunch. All right. 69. Now, see, being Generation X, I could do all the jokes all day long on 69, but this is supposed to be PG, so I'll leave it alone. Okay, maybe PG-13. A buyer assumes an existing seller's mortgage when purchasing a home, and the lender formally agrees in writing to release the original seller from all liability on the loan, substituting the buyer as the sole obligor. I think that's a funny word. What what contract concept describes this situation? Is it A, novation, since a new party is substituted for an original party with the consent of all involved, releasing the original party from liability? I kind of like that. I kind of like that answer. Let's see what else we got. B, subrogation, since the lender has stepped into the buyer's legal position. Well, no, the lender didn't step into the buyer's legal position. They just formally agreed. That's not it. C, accord and satisfaction, since a new lesser obligation has replaced the original debt. Well, no. Accord and satisfaction means, hey, we're both in agreement. even though I didn't do exactly what I promised to do in full, we're both agreeing that what I have done, that's going to be just fine. Or is it D, assignment, since only the right to make payments has been transferred? Well, no, they released the original seller from all liability on the loan. So that's not right either. Our answer is A. All right, Miss Mary, you said the long questions get to you. Hey, Trix, you said you're not ready to hear your student with a 6-7. Girl, girl. We, all the people that work with kids or see kids on a regular, are ready for 6-7 to die. And Miss Mary, the long questions you say get to you. That's what we do. You know, we got to practice. What is it? We got to break it down. Because like this one, it says, what contract concept does this and describes this substitution? Sometimes breaking down the answers gives us what we need to know. And sometimes what we need to do is just take this and put it in your own words. Shorten it. Let's put into your words what happened. And once you put it into your words, sometimes it becomes a little easier. But we'll work on it. All right, 70. A landlord's rental policy requires all applicants to have a minimum credit score of 750, a standard that, while applied equally to everyone, results in a dramatically lower approval rate for applicants of a particular protected national origin group compared to other applicants. Without a clear business justification for such a high threshold, what legal theory could be applied here? Now, I will tell you, in real life, this could be icky because there is no protection for credit scores. But this question is saying, well, it's applied equally to everyone, but it's resulting in dramatically lower approval rates for the, for a particular national origin group, which we know is a protected class. So what are we thinking? Now, I will tell you this. This is probably going to be a problem because you're learning to take a test to become a real estate agent. And our goal is that you are not discriminating. In fact, what I would say this is disparate impact, which more and more states are having me teach you all as a concept when it comes to real estate. If I have said this was 10 years ago, I don't know of any state that was teaching disparate impact. Maybe I just missed one, but it just wasn't common. Disparate impact is when you have a rule that you didn't mean to cause a problem. You absolutely positively did not mean to cause a problem. You weren't trying to not include a single group, but there's an impact that it happened, and we have to acknowledge that. So it's disparate impact. It's not our job to fight the courts. Our job is to understand what the questions are asking us and what they want us to know so that we're helping people appropriately. So I see here we got disparate impact and disparate impact. So it could be A, it could be C. It's not B because it's not redlining. And redlining has nothing really, there's reverse redlining, but that's not us. And we know that there's a violation. Yes, it's applied the same way to every applicant, but this, okay, what are you doing there? Thing, dupe. This regardless of outcome, that's a problem. So it's not D. So is it A, disparate treatment, because since the landlord is intentionally targeting applicants based on national origin? Well, this is wrong because they're not intentionally targeting them, which means our answer has to be C, but let's read it to make sure. Disparate impact, which can establish a fair housing violation even when a policy appears neutral on its face if it disproportionately harms a protected class without sufficient justification. Boom. That is what we're looking for. C. And even though we've already done the Kara song, let's go. C is for cookie. That's good enough for me. All right. That was a good one. Guys, if you're not familiar with this concept of disparate impact, If that's the first time you're hearing it, you need to make sure you're comfortable with it. Especially now, if you become realtors, you're going to have to take some fair housing classes, things like that. It's a topic that you need to be aware of. All right, 71. An owner of a small owner-occupied duplex who lives in one unit and rents out the other without using a real estate agent or any discriminatory advertising refuses to rent to a prospective tenant solely because of the tenant's race. Can the owner claim the Fair Housing Act's owner-occupied small building exemption, the Mrs. Murphy exemption, to justify this refusal? Now, I see Miss Stacy, you're saying the answer is A, no. So we got Miss Stacy saying no, because race discrimination is separately prohibited under the Civil Rights Act of 1866, which contains no exemptions and applies regardless of the building size or owner occupancy. Ding, ding, ding. That is the answer. I don't even have to go any further. I mean, that right there is the answer. And you all, we need to make sure when you're preparing for this test, you understand the Mrs. Murphy exemption will never, ever apply to race. What's that? What's going on my screen? I got nothing. There we go. It never, ever applies to race. With the Civil Rights Act of 1866, you can never discriminate based on race, whether it's real property, personal property. That's the law that makes it illegal, and there are no exemptions. Just know that one. That's a I must know. All right, 72. A 72-year-old homeowner with significant equity in her fully paid off home wants to access cash for living expenses without taking on a monthly payment obligation, and she plans to remain in the home for the rest of her life. Which financing option is specifically designed for this situation? Is it A, a traditional home equity loan, which requires fixed monthly payments over a set term? No, she doesn't want to take on a monthly payment obligation. That is the opposite of what she's looking for. B, a reverse mortgage, such as an HECM, which pays the homeowner while she remains in the home and is typically repaid when she sells, moves out, or passes away. I like that one. C, a bridge loan, which is designed for homeowners transitioning between two properties. That is true definition of a bridge loan, but that's not what we're trying to do here. Or D, a construction loan, which is dispersed in stages as renovation work is completed. Also a true statement. It's the right answer to some question, but not the right answer to this question. Our answer and definition is B. Boom. B for boom. All right. I'm going to do a couple more, and usually I would go longer. And yes, I know we have got TikTok, but y'all, I have been out in the sun all day. I am melting. I am stinky. I barely made it here on time after doing a garage sale, but I did purge stuff out of my house. So let's go to, yeah, I'll do maybe up to, we'll see how far we get, but I probably won't do a whole hour and a half today because I stink. I can smell myself. So, a motivated seller needing to relocate quickly for a new job accepts an offer $30,000 below what several recent comparable sales in the neighborhood suggest the home is worth. What best explains the difference between the sales price achieved and the property's likely market value? Now, Mary, you said you struggle with the longer questions. So this one is, I think, personally, one of those more complicated ones. We want to look at it and say, okay, what's going on? We have a motivated seller and they have to relocate quickly. So they go ahead and say, you know what? It's kind of like me at the end of this garage sale this weekend. I was like, everything's $1. Oh, you want that? That bin? It was, everything in that bin was $1. How about four for $1? I'm not taking this stuff back. I was a very motivated seller. Which, you know, if you would come to me Friday night when I first started, I was like, no, that's $15. That's $5. That's $3. I was not that motivated. I had all weekend to get it sold. Towards the end of this afternoon, I was like, please just take it. I don't want it. Which means that motivation changes the value to me of the property. Yeah, it could be a piece of crap, but now it's really a low price piece of crap. In fact, there were some cute girls. I was like, oh, you like that toy? Just take it. Please take it. So what we know is that motivation, once you have that difference in motivation, it changes. It doesn't, my sales that I did for these things are all $1. That doesn't show the true value of the items. I mean, I did have some really good items that got sold. Somebody got a walking pad for like $40. I'd only used it a couple times. I just didn't like it. I needed a longer stride. I mean, I had some good items. Motivation. When appraiser is going through to do an appraisal, they want to use a fair market value. They want to use an arm's length fair market value, which means anybody could have this price at any time. That motivation and the need to relocate quickly is going to be problematic. So, is it A, the discrepancy indicates the appraiser undervalued the comparable properties used in the analysis? No, this had nothing to do with the appraiser. Why are we blaming the appraiser for the seller wanting to get something sold? Is it B, market price reflects what was actually paid in the specific transaction? Okay. Which can differ from market value due to unique motivations like the seller's urgency, while market value represents the most probable price under normal unpressured conditions. Yes, I like this. In a lot of states, you will be asked to find the difference between market price and market value. So market price is what somebody pays. Market value is what an appraiser goes in and says, in my opinion, this property is worth X. But let's make sure C and D are incorrect. C, there is no meaningful difference between market price and market value. Well, no, that's not true. I just said in some states we teach that. There is a difference. Or D, the comparable sale must have been inaccurate since market value is always equal to whatever the property actually sells for. No. Look, in the best of you could have an appraiser come out and tell you, hey, your house is worth $695,000. And you put it on the market for $600,000 and nobody buys it. That's a terrible happy face. I guess that's a sad face. Just because the appraiser has the opinion that the house is worth $695, if nobody wants to buy it at that price, your house is not worth $695. There's no guarantee that what it appraises for is what you're going to get for it. Nice try, though. We wish. That's not how any of this works. All right, 74. An appraiser inspects a 30-year-old home that has been meticulously maintained with a recently replaced roof, updated systems, and modernized finishes throughout. I'll take it. Compared to the home's actual chronological age of 30 years, how would the appraiser most likely characterize its effective age? Remember, from a vocab point of view, effective age is how old does it feel, and chronological age is how old you actually are. And I often give the example of my dad's house because I was talking to him yesterday, and I thought it was born. The house was built in 1914. It was actually born. You know what? The house was born in 1913. We'll just go with it. That house is what, 113 years old? That would be the chronological age, 113 years. But the house does not feel on the inside like a 113-year-old home. My dad has renovated different parts at different times in people before. So effectively, how old does it feel? That's the difference between chronological age and effective age. Right? So if we know it's a 30-year home, but it's been meticulously maintained, it's got a new roof, updated systems, and modernized finishes, heck, it could feel better than a 10-year-old home. So now that we know that, let's see what answer matches. A, exactly equal to its chronological age, since an effective age is always identical to an actual age. I don't like this always, and that is not the definition. Ixnay. B, higher than its chronological age, since older homes always have higher effective age than newer homes. I don't love this always, but it's a generally okay statement. Let me see how I feel about it. I mean, That's higher than its chronological age. Well, chronologically, it's 30. The appraiser would say its effective age is higher. Actually, no, it wouldn't be higher. It would be lower. If it's got all those things, it should be lower than its effective age. I take that back. I don't like that. C, impossible to estimate without knowing the exact date of original construction. We don't need an exact date. Or D, lower than its actual chronological age because the extensive updates and maintenance make the home function and appear newer than its true age. Yes, ding ding ding. We have a winner. Chicken chicken. What I don't even know what that saying is. Chicken dinner, winner winner chicken dinner. That's what I was trying to say and get out of my mouth. All right, 75. A city council rezones a single small residential lot in the middle of an otherwise uniformly zoned single family neighborhood to allow a gas station benefiting one specific landowner without any broader planning rationale connecting it to the surrounding area. What is this practice most likely to be challenged as? Okay, well, it says, you know what sticks out to me? One specific landowner. That sounds to me like spot zoning because there's no broader planning rationale. But let's see what we got. And they did rezone it. So is it a legitimate conditional use permit since it allows the use the community may eventually need? Nope, that's not the definition of a conditional use permit. Right? A conditional use permit, in my experience, is more like you can have retail. Now, there's lots of options of retail, but you can have something like a doctor's office or a dentist's office where you're not going to need a lot of parking. You cannot put in a Walmart or a coffee shop where there's going to be constant people. It's like if there's conditions to the use. That's not it. An acceptable variance, since it grants relief from otherwise applicable zoning restrictions. Well, that seems like a good answer, but it's no, because a variance just allows you to do something different. This question said the property is rezoned. It cannot be a variance. A valid buffer zone, since it separates residential uses from more intensive commercial activity. Yeah, that's what a buffer zone does, but that's not what we're talking about here. So yes, just as I suspected, our answer is illegal spot zoning. Boom. Nice. Right? Nice. All right. Oh, and there's math, y'all. I don't have it in me. I stink. I really do stink. I mean, I was out there sweating. So remember, just as a review, on Thursday, 8/16, 6 p.m., that's Eastern, I'll be doing a live review. It will not be live on YouTube as I do it. It will be in a Zoom room. So if you want to be there for that, you need to email me and get the Zoom link. Here is my email address. That's a S. Otherwise, I apologize for cutting it short, but it's just me. It's just me doing this, and I stink. But if you have any questions whatsoever, if I can be of help, let me know. And then we also know, so I'll see you all Wednesday night. Some of you all I'll see Thursday night, and next Sunday, regardless of whether the guy wanted to help us comes or not, I will be doing questions, but I'll be using some of the time, and I want you all to bring me questions. Did I say 8:13? 8:13. Okay. Look, this is why I need a shower. 8:13. Okay. Thank you, Miss Mary. Whatever Thursday is. Yeah. It's 8:13. But bring the questions, all those questions you have about how do I find a broker? What do I do? I can't tell you what to accept as a commission split, but what kind of questions you should be asking your broker to know if it's a good fit. We can talk about how do you find your first sale or what can you do to get that first sale and clients and all of those things. I want to answer those for you. So I will see you on Wednesday or Thursday or Sunday. Have a lovely time. And next time you're driving around and you see a neighborhood garage sale, go support that person. Go support that person because they are out there sweating trying to sell their crap. All right, bye, everybody. Bye. Have a great week. I'll see you soon.